Just a week ago, her legs felt like they were filled with concrete. Every morning, getting up from her favorite chair was a struggle. Her legs were swollen, heavy, and stiff. Each step felt slow and uncertain. Sleep had become restless, interrupted by aching that never quite went away. This wasn't a rare story. It's something millions of people over 60 quietly live with every single day. The gradual loss of mobility, the persistent discomfort, the feeling that your own legs have somehow become your enemy. But here's what surprises everyone about this particular story. After just 7 days, everything changed. Her legs felt lighter. The pain faded significantly. She could move more freely, sleep better through the night, and even enjoy her morning walk without the fear of stumbling or falling. And no, there was no new prescription medication involved. No expensive doctor visits. No complicated medical procedures or costly equipment. All she did was apply a simple oil to her legs every day. An oil that most people already have sitting in their kitchen cabinet. One that has been used for centuries, but has been largely forgotten in our modern world of pills and procedures. What this natural remedy accomplished in just 1 week, without side effects or stress, felt nothing short of incredible. This message is for anyone who is tired of leg pain, swelling, and that nagging heaviness that seems to get worse with each passing year. Because yes, you can ease these symptoms. You can feel light and mobile again, and it all starts with something as small and powerful as this natural oil. By the end of this discussion, you'll know exactly how to use this remedy, what results to expect day by day, and 3 natural combinations that can enhance its effectiveness even further. But first, let's take a closer look at why legs after 60 start to feel heavier and what's really happening beneath the surface. Understanding why our legs change after 60. Margaret didn't wake up one morning with heavy, painful legs. It happened gradually, almost imperceptibly at first. Initially, it was just a dull ache behind her knees after walking to the mailbox. Then she started noticing how her ankles would puff up by evening, even on days when she barely moved around. When she bent down to water her garden plants, her calves would cramp up unexpectedly. By the time Margaret reached 72, even getting out of her recliner required significant effort. Like many women her age, Margaret thought to herself, well, maybe this is just what getting older feels like. She accepted it as an inevitable part of aging. But the truth was, her body had been giving her quiet warnings for years. Her circulation was slowing down. The blood vessels that once pumped blood easily throughout her body were now stiff and narrow. Blood wasn't flowing down to her extremities or back up to her heart as efficiently as it used to. Without steady circulation, her legs were essentially starving for oxygen and vital nutrients. That's why they felt tired and weak, like they just couldn't keep up with even basic daily activities. At the same time, fluid was building up in her lower body. Her kidneys and lymphatic system weren't clearing excess water as efficiently as they once did. Gravity naturally pulled this fluid down to her feet and ankles. That swelling wasn't just uncomfortable. It made walking harder, balance more precarious, and sleep increasingly restless. Let's not forget about muscle loss, either. Without regular stimulation and exercise, the muscles in Margaret's thighs and calves were quietly shrinking. She wasn't being lazy. She was simply unaware of what was happening. But weaker muscles meant more strain on her joints, and a significantly greater chance of falling. The good news. This situation wasn't hopeless. Margaret's body didn't need miracles, it needed support. And she found that support in the most unexpected way. The discovery that changed everything. It was a quiet Tuesday afternoon when Margaret found the bottle. She wasn't even looking for it specifically. She had been reorganizing her spice cabinet, something she hadn't done in years, when there it was. A small glass bottle tucked behind the vinegar and dried oregano. She picked it up, read the label, and smiled to herself. Rosemary oil. She remembered buying it ages ago after reading that it was good for sore muscles. But like so many things we purchase with good intentions, it had been forgotten, pushed to the back of the cabinet. That night, her legs were aching again. Instead of reaching for her usual heating pad, she decided, why not give this a try? She rubbed a few drops of the rosemary oil between her palms, warmed it slightly with the friction, and gently massaged it into her calves and thighs. The scent alone was enough to shift the atmosphere in her bedroom. Herbal, fresh, and deeply calming. But it was what happened next that truly surprised her. Within minutes, she felt a soft warmth rising under her skin. Not burning or uncomfortable, just a soothing sensation, as if her legs were waking up from a long sleep. That night, for the first time in weeks, she slept through without being awakened by painful cramping. Rosemary oil might sound simple, even too good to be true. But there's a reason it has been used for generations. It's not just a kitchen herb for flavoring food. It's packed with powerful plant compounds like rosmarinic acid and natural antioxidants. These elements help boost blood flow, soothe inflamed tissues, and ease muscle tension effectively. In fact, ancient Greek and Roman healers used rosemary oil exactly this way. They prescribed it for tired legs, stiff joints, and aching feet after long walks or battles. What makes it special is how quickly it works. It stimulates peripheral circulation, meaning it brings blood back to the areas that need it most urgently: the legs, ankles, and feet. It's also naturally anti-inflammatory, so it helps reduce the swelling that builds up from standing or sitting too long. And maybe just as importantly, it brings a sense of peace and self-care. That smell, that warmth, that ritual. For Margaret, it became more than just a physical massage. It became a precious moment for herself. The daily ritual. How to use this oil effectively. Now let's talk about how Margaret used the oil. Not just what she used, but how she used it. Because this part is what transforms a simple product into a powerful daily ritual that can change your life. The best time to apply rosemary oil is right after a warm shower. That's when your skin is clean, your pores are open, and your muscles are already somewhat relaxed. But even if you haven't just bathed, what matters most is that your legs are clean and dry. Margaret would first hold the little bottle in her hands for a few seconds, just enough to warm it gently. If it felt cold, she'd place it near a warm towel for a moment. Then she'd pour 5 or 6 drops into her palm, rub her hands together, and take a deep breath. That scent, that herbal, earthy, grounding scent, was like flipping a switch in her mind. It told her body, this is your time for healing now. She always started at her ankles, moving in slow circles upward. Not rushing, not pressing too hard, just firm, loving strokes up her calves, behind the knees, back down the shins, and then higher into the thighs. On her thighs, she moved even slower, using long, enveloping motions, like she was giving her legs a warm, caring hug. It wasn't just massage, it was connection. One leg took her about 5 to 7 minutes. She breathed deeply as she moved, synchronizing her touch with her breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. It became a kind of meditation, a moment of silence and self-care in our noisy, demanding world. Here's what she found worked best: twice a day. Once in the morning to energize the legs for the day ahead, and again at night to release the pressure and tension that had built up throughout the day. 7 days. That's all it took to feel a significant shift. After that first week, Margaret didn't stop. She just adjusted her routine. Sometimes once a day, sometimes only at night when her legs felt heavier. But it wasn't a chore. It became part of her daily rhythm, like brushing her teeth or drinking her evening tea before bed. If you want to make it even more powerful, there are little things you can add. After the massage, she'd often prop her legs up on 2 pillows. Just 15 minutes of elevation helps blood flow back toward the heart. Other times, if her legs felt especially sore, she'd lay a warm towel across them after massaging. That moist heat helped the oil soak in deeper and brought extra comfort. But the most important part wasn't any particular technique. It was the stillness. No phone. No television. No background noise. Just Margaret, her hands, and her breath. Because when you slow down, something profound changes, not just in your body, but in your spirit too. The 7-day transformation. What to expect? What surprised Margaret most wasn't just how her legs felt, it was how fast they began to respond. By the end of the first week, things had shifted in a way she hadn't felt in years. While every body is different, many people report a similar rhythm of change. The first day wasn't about immediate pain relief, it was about presence. Just taking the time to massage her legs, to breathe, to focus on herself already made her feel lighter. Not physically perhaps, but emotionally. It reminded her that her body still mattered. That she still mattered. By the second day, there was a subtle but noticeable difference. Her legs didn't feel as stiff when she stood up from sitting. At night, the usual cramps didn't jolt her awake. She slept more deeply, more peacefully than she had in months. Day 3 brought a pleasant surprise. While moving around the house, she noticed something remarkable. She wasn't shuffling anymore. Her steps felt smoother, more confident. Her feet didn't drag. She still had some soreness, certainly, but the oppressive heaviness was beginning to lift. By day 4, her skin looked noticeably healthier. The dryness and flakiness she'd ignored for so long were now replaced with a soft, healthy glow. Her legs looked alive again. And that visual improvement, in turn, made her feel more alive and vibrant. On the 5th and 6th days, something else emerged. Confidence. She walked a little taller, didn't hesitate when stepping off the curb. She even climbed the stairs without gripping the railing for dear life. The fear of falling that had haunted her for years was beginning to fade. And on day 7 she paused, looked down at her legs, and smiled genuinely, because for the first time in a long time, they didn't feel like a burden, they felt like a part of her again. They felt like friends, not enemies. Alternative oils for different needs. While rosemary oil worked wonders for Margaret, it's not the only natural option available. In fact, depending on what your legs are experiencing, whether it's severe swelling, nighttime cramps, or visible veins, there might be another oil that suits your body's specific needs even better. Let's start with arnica oil. If your legs bruise easily, feel tender to the touch, or swell significantly after walking or standing, this might be exactly what your body needs. Arnica comes from a bright yellow flower that has been used in traditional remedies across Europe for centuries. When applied properly, it helps ease inflammation and calms overworked muscle tissue. Margaret's friend Helen, who is 75 and stands on her feet most days selling vegetables at the farmer's market, swears by arnica oil. After using it for just a few days, the persistent soreness behind her knees melted away. If your biggest struggle is sleep, especially if leg discomfort keeps you awake at night, consider lavender oil. Its scent alone is enough to quiet an anxious mind. But when massaged into the legs, it does even more. It gently relaxes the muscles and calms overactive nerves. Lavender doesn't just help your legs rest. It helps your entire being find peace. That's why many people keep it near their bedside, ready for those evenings when the body just won't settle down. Then there's horse chestnut oil. This one is especially helpful if you're dealing with poor circulation or visible varicose veins. It has been used across Europe, particularly in Germany, to help strengthen blood vessel walls and reduce the feeling of heaviness in the lower legs. For those who find their ankles ballooning by the end of the day, or who feel like their legs are simply giving up, horse chestnut might be exactly what they need. You don't have to choose just one oil. Some people blend a few drops of each into a carrier oil like sweet almond or olive oil and apply it the same way. Others alternate based on how their legs feel that particular day. What matters most is listening to your body. Your body always speaks to you. These oils just help you answer its call, supporting habits that enhance results. If you've ever wondered why some people get faster, more dramatic results than others, here's the secret. The oil does its part, certainly, but your daily habits complete the picture. Margaret didn't change her whole life overnight. She didn't join an expensive gym or start taking dozens of new supplements. What she did was far simpler and more sustainable. She began moving mindfully. Each morning before breakfast, she walked for just 10 minutes around her block. No pressure, no rush, just fresh air, steady steps, and a gentle rhythm in her legs. That gentle movement worked like a pump, encouraging circulation and helping the oil penetrate deeper and work longer. She also added 3 simple exercises that anyone can do at home. Standing by her kitchen counter, she would rise onto her toes and slowly lower herself, strengthening her calves. Sitting in her armchair, she'd stretch one leg out at a time to engage her thigh muscles. And whenever she remembered throughout the day, she made soft circles with her ankles to keep things moving. It didn't take more than 5 minutes total, but the impact was huge. Her meals didn't change dramatically either, but she started adding more foods that support healthy blood flow. Things like garlic, turmeric, fresh berries, and leafy greens. And she cut back just a little on salt, especially in the evening, which helped reduce the swelling in her ankles. Then there was intentional rest. Every afternoon, Margaret took 15 minutes to elevate her legs. Just 2 pillows under her calves, as she lay back and breathed deeply. That small break gave her veins a chance to reset and help the swelling melt away. At night, she tucked a soft pillow under her ankles while she slept. Simple changes, but they added up beautifully. Your legs deserve love at every age. Before this discussion ends, I want to remind you of something simple but profoundly powerful. Your legs have carried you through an entire lifetime. Through celebrations and grief. Through every step that brought you to where you are right now. They've supported you when no one else could. Maybe over time, you stopped noticing them. Or worse, you started resenting them for hurting, slowing down, or changing shape. But here's the truth that needs to be said. They still deserve care. You still deserve care. Not because you're trying to look younger. Not because you need to prove anything to anyone. But because attention is a form of love. And your body is worthy of that love, at every age. So tonight, take 5 minutes, sit down comfortably. Warm a little oil in your hands, breathe slowly and deeply. And just listen. Listen to your body, to your breath, to that quiet feeling of coming home to yourself. Remember, healing doesn't always require complicated solutions. Sometimes the most powerful remedies are the simplest ones. A few drops of oil, gentle, caring hands, a moment of stillness, and the decision to treat yourself with the kindness you so freely give to others. Your journey to lighter, stronger legs can begin today. All it takes is that first gentle touch, that first deep breath, that first moment of saying to your body, I haven't forgotten you. You still matter to me. Walk gently, walk with love, and remember that it's never too late to feel better in your own body.